Hello again. In my previous devlog, I got a comment from someone. They asked me when the game will be released and if it will come to mobile. At first, I wasn't planning to release the game on mobile, but when I got this comment, I thought it would be a great idea to release the game on mobile as well. So I decided to add mobile support to the game. I put a mobile gameplay video on the screen showing the game at its current stage, and I think it turned out very well. However, adding mobile support was really difficult. The game was working very well on PC, but on mobile, I was getting 18 FPS on average. It took me days to find the issues and optimize it. There were three issues. The game's visuals changed according to the time of the day, but the game was updating the visuals every single frame. Even on an empty map, the FPS was stuck at 18. I changed this so the visuals update every in-game minute instead of every single frame. With this change, the FPS increased to 60 on an empty map and in the tutorial scene. But on the actual Green Valley map, the FPS was still at 18. I thought the issue was because the map contains over 2000 trees. To confirm it, I decided to hide all the trees from the map. When I did this, the FPS went up to 60. After confirming the issue, I added a new setting named Object Draw Distance. This setting adjusts how far objects are rendered, not just trees but all objects on the map. It removes the sprites and disables collision shapes and click areas depending on how far the object is from the player. Also, when the player's health is below 15%, a chromatic aberration effect appears. It was also decreasing the FPS a bit, so I added a setting to enable or disable the aberration effect. If you disable chromatic aberration, only this black grenade appears on the screen when your health becomes less than 15%. Speaking of settings, I also added a camera zoom setting. You can zoom out to see a bigger part of the map at once, or you can play like this. It is now possible to rename your save files. When you click on the pencil icon of your save file, you can change it to whatever you want. I decided to add electronic devices into the game. You can see that there is an energy icon on the top right part of the item slot. This shows how much battery that electronic device has left. It currently says NA, meaning no battery is installed in it right now. I added an Actions button to the left panel. When I click on it, a menu appears. From here, when I click the battery tab, you can install, remove or change the batteries of electronic devices. When you use an electronic device, its battery drains at a steady rate. If an electronic device does not have a battery, or if it has a battery but does not have enough energy to perform a one-time action, you can't use that electronic device. In the future, it will be possible to refill batteries using a lightning rod during rainy weather, but this feature isn't ready yet. Also, as you can see, it's now possible to repair and harvest certain items. You can see the returns and required time for harvesting. For repairing, you can see the required materials, repair time, and quality increase amount for each repair action. You can also choose a tool to decrease the time for both repair and harvest actions. But for some items, using a tool might be mandatory to repair or harvest them. The wolf sprite and its innovations are finally present in the game. I won't implement the wolf's AI just yet, but I will show you how the animations look for both the wolf and the character sprites. Also, as you saw through the video, I finally designed the Green Valley map to a certain point. It's not fully finished yet, but overall, it looks like this. These are the updates that are mainly for the players. From here, I will talk about the things and updates that are more relevant to me and the development process. I will also go into some technical details. So if you're not interested, this might be the end of the video. But if you are interested in listening to this, let's begin. For a long time, I've been spending more time than I expected testing certain features. For example, if I needed the time to be night to test something, I had to use the pastime feature until it became night. And when you consider that I have to open the game many times to test a feature and fix bugs, it takes a lot of time. Because of this, I added a developer console screen for myself. From here, I can write certain commands to create the scenario I need much faster. I will add more commands as the project grows. I also created a small debug map to test new features, objects, or items without risking breaking the original map. I showed the wolf animation in this debug map as you can see. From now on, I have certain tools to design and debug maps faster. One of the most time-consuming parts of the development is designing a map. The size of a single map is 6400 x 6400. So it will be a torture to place certain objects one by one, especially trees. But now I can create multiple objects with just a few clicks. Here is how it works. When a Node 2D scene is open, you click Create Spawner. This box appears on the screen. In the inspector panel, there is an array called Objects. Here, you can choose how many different types of objects you want to spawn in this area. Let's write 2. When I write the amount, these instances appear. For each option, you choose this resource and the main settings appear. In the Object Scene tab, you choose the object scene. I will choose tree and rock. For each object, there is also a selection change slider. This changes how frequently that object will be added to the area. If I set trees to 80% and the rocks to 20%, trees will be more common than rocks in this area. Node name prefix assigns the written name to the added object nodes. Persistent ID prefix adjusts the first part of the unique IDs. There are also global options for all of these objects. You can choose how many objects you want to place, the minimum distance between objects, and how many times the tool should try to place each object until it finds a valid position. Map prefix adjusts another part of the persistent ID. This is here to prevent conflicts between objects from different maps. Assign persistent IDs is simply an option for whether the generated object should have persistent IDs or not. Random seed is about randomness. If you write a number other than 0 and you use the exact same settings later, using the same seed will create the same placement again. If you write 0, the placement will be random every time, based on the settings we made. After setting everything, we go to the Tools section and click Preview. This does not place the objects yet. It only shows a preview of how the placement will look. As you can see, trees are more common than rocks because this is what we set in the inspector. If you like the placement, you can click Generate to add the objects into the scene. Since this game is generally about loot, I definitely needed a tool for it as well. There is also an item spawner tool that I will use a lot. As the name suggests, this tool spawns items in a certain area with certain rules when the game first starts. First, you choose whether you want to place a single item or multiple items in an area. Then you choose the shape of the area. When you click Create Item Spawner, an area appears. When you go to the inspector, it automatically adds a unique persistent ID for the spawners. There is an item entry section. This is similar to the object spawner. You choose how many different items you want to assign a resource for each item in the list. From here, you write the item's ID from the item database. Selection weight works similarly to the object selection change. Let's add stick and stone, and I will make the pick rate 75% for stones and 25% for sticks. Each item also has difficulty rule settings. From the Tools section, click Scene Spawner Defaults, and it will automatically add each difficulty option into it. These options exist mainly because item spawn rate, spawn change, and quality range should be different for each difficulty. You can adjust these options however you want. There are also battery sliders. If the spawned item is an electronic, you can adjust the change for it to spawn with a battery. And you can also adjust the battery's energy range if it spawns with a battery. And there are a few global options for all items. You can set whether spawn items should avoid collisions and whether they are indoors or outdoors. This option exists because indoor and outdoor items spoil at different rates. It also has placement attempts for each item, and you can decide whether the spawner should respawn items or not. Some items in the map might respawn during certain events, like when the weather changes, when the player sleeps, or when a new day starts. If the player does not pick up any items from an item spawner area, that spawner will not respawn anything. But if the player picks up at least one item from that spawner area, the remaining items will be deleted and new items will spawn during certain events. Let's start the game and see how the spawner works. As you can see, there are more stones than sticks. Let's pick one, start a new day, and see if anything changed. As you can see, the placement of the items is different from the previous placement. There are also other tools that are mainly for debugging and fixing issues. The first one is called persistent IDs. Every object in the map has its own persistent unique ID to prevent conflicts between objects. For example, if every object had the same unique ID and you cut down one tree, all trees on the map could be cut down at the same time. Persistent unique IDs prevent this conflict. This tool finds missing or duplicate persistent IDs on the map and fixes these issues. The map validation tool is like a broader validation tool. It checks persistent ID issues, missing interaction areas, missing click areas, missing collision shapes, and missing save log methods. But it does not automatically repair these issues, so I manually fix them. The interaction tool shows the click areas, interaction areas, and unique persistent IDs. The player has a circle-shaped interaction area. If this area touches an object's interaction area, you can interact with that object. The same logic applies to the building doors as well. These tools may not be very exciting from a player's perspective, but for the development, they save a huge amount of time. I hope you like these updates and additions. Thank you for following the development of Forgotten Grounds, and see you in the next one.